My kids has made me the strong mental and savvy business person, financial person, because of the trauma that we incurred or would have incurred when I was with their father 10 years ago. So, my two sons, their dad left when the second one was born, and he was very manipulative and narcissistic with his own trauma problems that he attempted to kind of make me go crazy, right? And prove to others, kind of that tear you down so that you think you're less than who you are, and kind of like put you in a position where you don't look mentally stable to other people, so that way they can use their power to control you. And even now, if you would talk to him, he's very it's difficult to like really show that to other people when they're a really narcissistic and manipulative person. It's really difficult to show because it's so subtle, and they're very good at masking themselves and presenting themselves as such. It's insanely good and meticulous how good they are at doing this. And so I had to become extremely resilient and remove all pride and ego from me, so I could really keep my head on straight and keep my children and provide them with a great environment. It was so difficult to keep that thing separated, where I was emotionally trying to keep my power and then also be a great mother to my kids, as good as I could. At the time I did the best that I could with what I had, and I was a lot. I'm 35 now, so I was 25 when I had my first son. So of course all these things are going through my head. Now I had to really quickly adopt principles, quick and fast, so that I could hold on to them and stay the course, because he literally would try to get me to think less of myself and the kids to think less of me, very subtly. And if you brought it up and say, well, why would you say this, and he would twist it so it wouldn't be exactly what it looked like. It would be like, well, that was such an innocent thing, you're twisting it, it's in your mind, type of thing. So then I realized I could not talk to him or so there are some people that have this distance from reality, and then they create their own perception of you and other people to fit their reality, and you have to leave them in their reality. You have to be quiet, shut up, and let it go, and allow them to be in their reality, but you know what's really going on. So it is a very trying thing to do, and I realized that I couldn't have a lot of time away from my kids, because of course high paying jobs or high sales, I was in sales, right? You have to really spend a lot of time selling and a lot of time away from your family, and I was by myself and I didn't have the support I needed from family members either, or from anybody else. Honestly, it's my kids, so it's my responsibility, right? So I took huge accountability as soon as I could. I took huge accountability for myself and my actions as soon as I could. That led me to start reflecting on myself and making better decisions. Then I realized, I had to start a business because I needed freedom of time and freedom of money, and I needed to control that because I needed the flexibility. He's taken me to court 3 times already. The kids are 10. One time he didn't show up. The first time he took himself for child support court or something like that. Then most recently when I had my other baby, he took me to court for full custody. And then before that, he took me before, in the beginning, we went so that I could go with my family. So court is very stressful. I mean, you don't go to court one time, you go to court multiple times, you argue, especially when you're the primary caregiver financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, and you're already like burned from all the things that you do, and then they're trying to take us. He's like, come on, bro, let's be real. You know what I mean? So not only that, but you're trying to still protect your children, right, from their mental anguish. So my kids really had to grow up super fast. Like I would hate to put this on any kids, but my boys were with me. They've been to business with me. They pick up rent with me. They go clean out houses with me. When, you know, this is before, because I don't do that as much anymore. You know, we do everything electronic, and we have nicer homes now. But my boys had to grow up because they had to mentally understand where this manipulative tactics were coming from. You know what I mean? So like they had to mentally understand, like, okay, he might be nice to me, but he's also like subtly, you know, dissing my mom to plant seeds in my subconscious mind. It's crazy. So I had to really, they had to grow up fast. They had to see reality for what it really was. And that was hard on me, but I mean, I'm like, how else am I going to protect my kids besides making them strong? How can I protect them? I can't be strong for them when they're out and dealing with stuff. So that's one of the things that I did. But that, and, you know, having business and learning about financials so I could do a lot with a little. And people don't realize how much you can do with a little bit if you are hyper focused. And my sons hyper focused me on making sure I was financially good. So that way I was not going to be able to be toppled over by, I mean, you know, by the situation. So imagine you being in a situation like that where you're, you kind of feel vulnerable. You really have to protect your mind and your subconscious mind. You can't really have a conversation. You can't, there's no co-parenting does not exist, okay? There's no conversation that can ever be had between us that is ever going to make sense. Never. So you have to get all that stuff out of your mind. As a woman, we want so bad for a safe place from a man, just to be able to be emotionally and just look what I'm doing. And it does not exist there. It does not exist there. So sometimes I would, my blinders would, you know, come on and be like, oh my God, I wish I had that. And it doesn't exist. You can't have conversations with people who cannot even understand your level of thinking at all. Like they say, you got to meet people where they're at, okay? Not where you're at, where they're at. Because you can't bring people to your level of thinking. And you can explain it to them all you want, but until they actually have the experience on their own, there is absolutely no way that they can come to that level of thinking unless they got there on their own. You can tell them all day, and you can make sense all day, and you're talking, and it will get you absolutely nowhere because you're just wasting your breath. You cannot get anybody to that level of talking or level of thinking without them experiencing it and self-reflecting on their own. So pride and ego went out the door quick, right? Because it was such a humbling experience. Young mom, 2 kids, situation I really couldn't even explain to other people because it would be so twisted. I just really had to get mentally strong, trust myself, and work on my mindset every single day. Literally every day. Like to the point where I will not watch TV. Okay, I didn't really grow up with TV anyway, but I will not allow anything to infiltrate my conscience. I would not watch TV. If somebody turned on stupid YouTube videos of me around me, I'd ask them to turn it off. Like I do not want those words penetrating my brain. Or something like, you know, if that makes sense. But music, any music that was around anything that was negative connotative, if you don't realize that that music can affect your mood and affect your way of thinking, then you got a problem, because it really does. And so I dropped all bad music. I started listening to country music. I have a thing about that, like country music, because I didn't want my kids exposed to that either. And no TV, like at all. No YouTube for them, really. They would watch like the baby shows, but that's it. And even to this day, like they just announced Dimitri got an Xbox, which I really didn't want them to have that kind of stuff, because, you know, at that young mind, your brain is so malleable. So to get what has shaped me as a person was a very traumatic experience that I had to really self-reflect and make the decision to become so strong, okay, to get me there. Now I'm in another level of life where I'm unpeeling, you know, my own childhood traumas and understanding why I made the decisions that I made to put me even in that position. So, I mean, life is about a bunch of lessons, but that has really, you know, you really need a big focal point and a huge why to really focus you in and dial you in on making money. It's never a material thing. It's never going to be a material thing. I really don't think your desire to own a yacht or a G-Wagon is never going to be enough, you know, because material things, they're there and then they're not there, you know what I mean? But it's something innate, like my children, the betterment of their mental, their growing up, to protect them from potential childhood traumas. That is a huge why factor. And then also wanting to become the best role model for them, because how can I tell them to be better if I'm not working on it myself? I mean, that's just the pot calling the kettle black, you know? It's just like, it's idiocracy at its best. So that's how I became so sharp in finance, because I felt like I needed to have all these freedoms quickly, swiftly, and at the level that I could do it.